The Victorian Football League may just be broken.
The Northern Bullants 0-4 for 161-4, a final margin of 128 points for the Brisbane Lions.
They are scary good at the moment, the Suns.
Blowout after blowout, fixturing issues, and clubs struggling both on and off field, leaving the competition's future up in the air.
They have made it a national comp. It is unequal because they have these AFL sides.
Six News looks at what's next for the 146-year-old competition and its 21 clubs. The VFL clubs can be broken up into three main categories: reserve sides of a club like Richmond, affiliated reserve clubs like Box Hill with Hawthorn, and standalone clubs without an affiliation with an AFL club like Port Melbourne. From there you can split them even further. There's the interstate clubs and also the struggling standalones, Coburg, Frankston and the Northern Bullants. Since 2021, those three clubs have been firmly at the bottom of the ladder. That's not especially new for the Dolphins and the Lions, but it is for the Bullants, who have really struggled after Carlton ended their affiliation because of COVID in 2020. Those three clubs had a combined record of 6 wins to 48 losses this season. But why are these standalones different to others like Werribee and Williamstown? According to the Herald's son Sam Landsberger, a lot of it is down to gambling revenue.
Having gone through all the financial reports of all these standalone clubs, there's no doubt that the difference is gaming. So Williamstown, Werribee, Port Melbourne, Southport, by next year they'll have access to over 600 gaming machines, and then Coburg, the Bullants and Frankston, they don't have any. And it is leading to the on-field results which we're seeing. You know, those clubs are under-resourced, they can't pay the salary cap, and they can't compete on the field, and it's quite sad.
The Tigers finished second on the VFL ladder this year as they search for their second ever seniors premiership.
The VFL are really looking at this in terms of a model perspective, but they're really supportive of the standalone clubs, which is fantastic. And I think we need to see what happens over the next year or two in some of the other standalone clubs. But we're really happy from a Werribee perspective as a standalone club that we're being successful not only off the field but on the field this year.
The VFL has also been heavily dominated by the interstate clubs since they joined. Standalone side Southport made the grand final last year, while Gold Coast made the prelim. The Suns took out the minor premiership in 2023 with Brisbane in fourth at the end of the home and away season. In contrast, Coburg hasn't won since round 19 2022, winless in 2023. The Bullants lost a key player in Brandon Ryan to Hawthorn in the AFL via the mid-season draft this year, failing to win a game after round 8. The rest of the season included multiple 100-point thrashings, including an 157-point loss to Footscray, where they failed to score a single goal. So, what can be done? Not just for the struggling clubs, but also to keep people going to the VFL. One idea that can be done, and already sometimes is curtain raiser games. To use a real example from the 2023 season, Richmond reserves play Box Hill at Punt Road Oval before Richmond plays Hawthorn at the MCG just 5 minutes away. Or Geelong playing Box Hill in the VFL, then the senior side playing Hawthorn in the AFL, all at the G. But what if the senior AFL side is playing one of the 4 clubs that don't compete in the VFL? You could have Collingwood reserves versus Williamstown before the senior side plays Fremantle. If the AFL game's interstate, have the VFL game on a different day, or at the very least, a time that doesn't clash. Of course, supporting those struggling standalones is also crucial.
The only way it can be sustained if the AFL invests money into a fund and into those teams. But to do that, they'd have to make a commitment to the concept of a Coburg. If a Coburg is to survive and build community support, it has to do bigger things like embrace women's football, embrace social questions. Coburg has Phil Cleary Day. It can do the anti-violence campaign a great deal of good and be a much more powerful force than an AFL club can be, because the AFL clubs don't have time to do that. The AFL has to accept that and say, we want those clubs to survive because they're at the coalface, the interface of the community. Plus, they offer young blokes who aren't drafted another opportunity to get a look in at the top end of football and keep the talent pool alive.
Both Frankston and the Bullants have lost their coaches in the off-season, but they, alongside Coburg, are set to continue in the VFL in 2024, as are all other 18 teams.
There is a strong public belief that we are heading towards an AFL Reserves league. I don't see that as being an option, certainly not in the short term. I think that the costing from an AFL point of view would just be too extreme to be flying, teams from Perth to Melbourne and to Brisbane, every week.
When we continue to be successful, you'll tend to see more people here, and certainly I can see a lot of people here today that don't come that often, but they have come to the game to support the Werribee Football Club, and that's really fantastic.
What are your thoughts on the state of the VFL? Let us know in the comments section, and subscribe to 6 News on YouTube for more editions of 6 News Sport, breaking news, live coverage and original reporting.